This is a small tutorial on how do we use OBS to produce the church live streams every Sunday, how we use it to perform live camera switching, mixing in pre-recorded video, and also do lower thirds graphics at the bottom of the screen. Here is OBS. OBS is a simple Opera broadcast software. It's a free software that allows us to record and manage multiple cameras. It allows us to also stream to social media sites like Facebook and YouTube. We currently use it uh, to do that, and we also use it to do backup recordings just in case the internet have issues. Um, we also use it to do our, like I said, live camera switching. When we have multiple cameras, we can transition from the center of the pulpit to the organist and back. We also use it to interface with our audio equipment where we patch in the mixed audio from the board directly into OBS. And we use it to um, basically to control our cameras. So OBS is OBS. It comes in. You can run it in a couple of modes. One mode is studio mode, and one mode. Um, with studio mode, we have a preview screen, and then we can see what's currently being broadcast or recorded versus what's uh, the next scene that you want to cut to. So another thing that in OBS it has this concept of scenes and sources. For example, uh, your scene is can be the entire. Your scene is your entire video screen. Your source can be things that makes up the scene. For example, in this scene, you have a video capture device that bringing in the video. Let's fix back, and actually, there's an image at the bottom of the screen. So that image is overlaid on top of the video. That's what we consider our lower thirds. Okay, let's get OBS back up and running. One of the things OBS allows us to do is live camera switching. So I have two cameras currently set up in OBS. We'll transition. Um, it's hard to see the second one, but let's see. So we have camera one and camera two. And with this transition button, I can transition over to camera one. And I can select camera two and transition over to camera two. This is effectively two camcorders. At the church, we have two camcorders connected to the computer, and we can transition back and forth. OBS allows us to do that. And also, OBS allows us to do the overlays. You'll see those overlays in the service. For example, let's transition here. You'll see the overlay for the church choir. And it also allows you to bring in full screen images. When we do the announcement, you'll see a full screen image. So that's what the overlays will get us. And we can switch between the overlays also. Let's look at this one. So this is the start of the service where we initially put the church address to make sure we put that out there. And then when we transition over at this point to our deacons and deaconess, we'll have her name on the screen. And then as soon as she's begin to read the scripture needs to be presented. And once the scripture is finished and the deacon comes to the podium, we'll put the deacon name on the screen. So OBS allows us to do those small things like that. I want to go back to OBS one more time to basically talk more about the scenes versus sources. Like I said, the scene in this scene here is the entire video output, but the sources is what's made up of the scene inside the scene. So you have two things. One is your camera capture device, the video camera feed, and the other one is a image that's basically on the bottom of the screen. That's actually, this image is full screen. Portions of the image is transparent, so you can see through it. So that's what we consider it is. It's like an overlay. It lays on top of the screen. And the order in which the scene is set up inside of the sources, the order of the sources is important, because if I drag the church address below the camera or below the video device, you don't see it. So it has to be above the video device. So it's like a layered cake when you building these scenes. So let's uh, talk about the lower thirds. One of the things we do, how do we build these lower thirds that you see on the bottom of these screens? They're basically images exported from a slide presentation that we maintain. And I'll pull that up next. Okay, let's see. So the slide presentation is here. It's a Google slide, and basically what we have is a running list of slides that we present, or we have some templates here that we use, and we copy and enter text into them every week. And we have some standard slides that we will use throughout the broadcast. So one of the first things that we do, we would get a list of several pieces of information from the church. One is the order of service. The order of service will have who's speaking, what their position or their role is with the church. And another one we would get is the announcement, any announcement graphics that goes into the presentation will come from church, and also a sermon outline. And the sermon outline is used to uh, aid uh, it's really to enhance the service, to provide context when the pastor is reading scripture or giving out points, and it allows viewers to take notes. And this is something that we capture every week and update this slide presentation. And the slide presentation is in order in which the slides are in order in which we will see them during the service. So the first thing you'll see when the call of worship start, the first singing and the pastor welcoming the parishioner to the service is the church address, and next is the devotion. So we'll have a devotion, and typically it's the reading of the word is first, then there's a prayer by a deacon and deaconess. So during the pandemic, we typically had deacon and deaconess um, coming together to aid in the service. And next we'll have a song. And typically it's you'll have the choir name. So here we have like the praise ensemble. We may have the male choir or the mass choir or members of the mass choir. And next, after the first song, is the announcements. And we'll basically overlay or cut in on OBS to the full screen version of these announcements, but under those images will be the video of the pulpit and who's someone who's reading or reciting the announcements will be shown. So you would see the images here, but actually hear someone on the mic telling you about the events. And we can bring in extra graphics to basically show. And next, we will have another song. Typically, we'll have another song after the announcements, and we will show the choir's name on the lower thirds. And like I said, with these lower thirds, the bottom portion is the top portion is transparent, the white. So when you overlay it on top of the video, it shines through. And when the sermon starts, the first thing you will see the pastor name, and, um, and when he starts his sermon, you'll see the text and the title will be given. And at this point, he will start uh, going through his sermon with the scripture and points and etc. So at the end of the sermon, we typically open up virtually open up the doors of the church, invite people to join or give us a call, give us an email, and that slide is presented when the pastor does that. And then we'll transition to the logo. And just like I said, we have these images we can bring in. We can also bring in video, because one of the videos we have an intro video and an outro video, because there's other things that we have to basically present, post on the screen before we um, finish the live stream. For example, one of the things we do at the end, we'll go into our finale or our closing video, and this will show uh, it's a standard ending to the video, to the live stream. So we end all live streams with the same video. So just like I said, we typically get information. We'll get several pieces of information from the church, and we'll go in every week and update this slide presentation. Once the slide presentation is updated, we will begin to download it and import it into OBS. Now that we've uploaded or updated the slide deck, we can begin the process of downloading the slides to the computer. We'll just do a few slides at this time. We download it as a PNG file because it preserves the transparency. We want to download them in order in which they show during the program. It makes it easier to import. We'll stop right here for now. So next thing we'll do is we have to import these images into OBS. And to do that, basically there's a certain directory we download them or copy them to. So let's do that. Get all of them that was downloaded today. So overlays folder. These are the ones that was used previously. We'll just delete all of these. Paste it in place until our the folder. Next, let's go into OBS. We go into the overlays source. Let's select all of these, remove them, and add the files that we just exported. Now we have the new participants in the service there. We can test it out by I'm gonna transition over. We can test it out by stepping through the slides. And typically when we are streaming the service, we'll jump back and forth between, for example, the overlay screen and just a blank screen. To give that effect. One last thing I wanted to cover is that both OBS and Google Slides are free software that we use. They're free. You can access them online. Try them out for yourself. Thank you.